afternoon to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is the 14th August 2022 Sunday class. We shall be continuing our sharing from this book. Lesson 71, Sutra of Infinite Meaning, 无量义经. We are at page 14. Before we continue, we will have our puja. Let us now compose our mind, develop the faith, Saddha, Liang, then mindfully we shall commence the puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛。Namo 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 观世音菩萨。Namo 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 阿弥陀佛。Namo 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 弥勒佛。Namo 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 普贤菩萨。Namo 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 地藏王菩萨。Namo 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 佛菩萨。Namo 佛菩萨。Namo 佛菩萨。Arahang Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivanemi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Saukasangho Sanghang Namami Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Panati pata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's now pay respect to Pujat. Buddhang Pujeni. Dhammang Pujeni. Sanghang Pujeni. Okay, you all can be seated. Okay, just relax body and mind, maintain some more attention. Then we will turn to page 6 of the chanting book. We will do the invocation to the deities. Invocation to the deities. In this universe, in the entirety, let the deities or devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalisu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhamang Muni Rajasa Sunantu Sakamokadang Dhammasvanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhammasvanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhammasvanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti peso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vicacarana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipaseko opanayiko pachyatang veditago inohiti supatipano bhagavato sāvaka Ujupatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Nyāyapatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Samicipatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Yadidang catari purisa yukani Atta purisa pugala Esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaneyo Anuttarang punyang ketang lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, you can be seated. Then we shall continue from where we stopped. Turn to page 40 of his book. Lesson 71, Sutra of Infinite Meaning, 无量义经. Page 40. Yeah? We are at section 3.3.2.4. People being unhappy with life. I think this topic was brought up by Jing. So according to Brother Jing, recently I encountered one thing which is very strange to me. He realized a lot of people are not happy with their life. Then myself rejoiced. I said, oh, Sadhu, that's a very profound discovery. In fact, after you develop the cultivation of the Buddha Dharma, after you have the understanding, then you come to realize living being is actually suffering. They are almost all the time unhappy. They have a lot of worry, anxiety, so-called First Noble Truth related situation that make them unhappy. The lack of peace, the unhappiness, the insecurity, the fear, the worry, the anxiety, and all this, they keep on surfacing. Sometimes for no any appropriate reason, their thought keep on arising, the like and dislike, the pleasant and unpleasant sense experience. These are the habitual tendency, their habitual reaction to sense experience. And they hold on to a lot of views, opinion, and belief system. So all this create conditioning to make their mind react. And they constantly seek security. The slightest situation can make them like feel insecure, unhappy, especially when confronted with the First Noble Truth reality. And these are very common life problems. Sometimes they will not only worry about their own health, their own financial situation, their own career, their own relationship, and all that things. They worry about their loved one's situation too. Sometimes they worry about their children. Then later on, their grandchildren, their future, and all those things. And they are so concerned with life. Then sometimes they can't have peace because of what the neighbor do, because of their loved one did to them or said something towards them. Then when things don't go their way, when problems start to surface, even having property, having money, can also give rise to problem, because the ownership of it gives rise to a lot of responsibility. Like you own a property, maybe your house, your bungalow, whatever. Then when there is leak problem, roof leak problem, or there is termite problem, or sometimes certain aspect of your household gets into a situation give you problem. Your wall leak, plumbing problem, and sometimes electrical problem. Then a lot of other building related issue. Sometimes you didn't pay your assessment rent or quick rent. You may be threatened with the authorities' action to liquidate your property or fine for not paying in time. And there are other type of issues to the other type of bills related, like in the water, sewage, which is the same bill. Then there are other like water bills, electricity bills. And if you rent it out, you are not staying on your own, you have tenant problem. If you buy condo, you have condo problem. There are a lot of problems. Even you own a car, maybe a nice car, but you have commitments because the installment, the insurance, the road tax, then the upkeep, maintenance, repair, and all these things. Then when you break the traffic rules, you may be summoned. Then you may be an accident. Then it may involve police case and other complications. So all this are life-related problems. Sometimes it's their career. Career a lot, I realize. And relationship, financial, and many others. So for Jing how to go through that is a good sign that the cultivation starts to flower or give rise to understanding. That's why you will be more sensitive and come to realize that a lot of people actually suffer, like the famous saying in the Mandarin tradition, meaning They have this famous sentence, "Jia jia yu penan." Means every household has their own problem. So the world is full of problems when people do not have the understanding. That's why the Buddha Dharma is very important. Okay, we go back to the sharing. Then Jin Hao said, yes. When I asked them if there is a next life, will you come? A lot of them say no. They don't want to come again. Then I commented, I said, ha ha ha, yeah, they are so fed up with life. They don't see happiness in life. They don't see a reason for them to come back. These are people who don't have Dhamma understanding. Please continue. Very good. Imagine how continue is it? I mean, they are seeing a lot of suffering, regardless of whether they are young or old, even elderly people, because they notice that life is no longer the same as it was in the past. You can see society and the value system has changed so much. Then I reply, I say, yes, it is very stressful for them. They can't cope with what is happening. So those stress makes them miserable, frustrated, and unhappy. It's like everything is not right. The world is so competitive. And like there is no place for them. And there is so much problem. What you said is very true. In fact, 90% of human beings live their life that way. They have to confront a lot of suffering, a lot of misery, and they are most of the time unhappy. Very seldom you can find one genuine one who has the understanding, who can tell you that life is beautiful, meaningful. Then I say, you please continue. Then Jin Hao continue. He said, the other one that I encounter is a lady friend. She is working in a very big corporate company. She is going through a lot of office politics. Then I reply, I say, yeah, that one also causes a lot of stress, mental energy wastage or depletion of mental energy, proliferation of mental thinking, and a lot of negativity or negative type of emotion. Is they have a lot of not only stress, fear, worry, anxiety, insecurity, sadness, sorrow, lamentation, all this. Then they feel stress, under pressure. Then they don't know how to cope with all this office politics. Then Jin Hao continues it. And she is quite soft. She is not the aggressive type. She was like being bullied, taken advantage of until she wanted to learn to be like those kind of cunning characters in the drama, those that can fight back. I don't know how to talk to her because I also understand her feeling, because she has been taken advantage of in that kind of corporate environment. People want to present the best of themselves. They want to be promoted. So they backstab each other and do a lot of funny things. And a lot of them only talk without action or do without any action or do or working on it. If you don't know how to talk your way out, then I cut him off by saying, the corporate sector has a lot of this kind of people. They can put on a strong impression and talk their way out of situation. And sometimes they take advantage of the situation. I mean, that is life. That is the career of corporate sector. I have heard about corporate sector. And it's not easy to survive because there is a lot of politics, backstabbing, very competitive environment, and a lot of other problems associated with the work environment. And sometimes their life will be threatened too. If you put too much emphasis on your job security, you will have fear, you will have problems. Then you will feel afraid, frustrated, and unhappy. And like what your friend has described to you, she's a soft and timid type, not the aggressive type, not like Sister PG. Sister PG is small size but can take care of herself very well because she has to be in that position to survive because of her career. So she doesn't have the ability. But for you, if you want to help her, you can apply the Dhamma, provided she is willing to listen. Because life is not about competing. It's not about trying to be better and doing all those ugly career-related things that comes about. Life is to be understood so that we will live honestly. Do your best. I always tell people or advise people who are working, try your best and do your best. As long as you are sincere and true to yourself, there is no need to fear. That is why take care of karma. And karma will take care of your life. That's it. If you don't have any negativity, nothing will harm you unless it is past coming thing. Then a lot of this thing they must understand. It is like what the Buddha said. Whatever arises, there are causes and conditions behind. And most of the time, it is karmic related or karma related. The Buddha said under his fifth daily contemplation very clearly. He said, we are all born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. We are what we are because of karma. So very likely it is all karmic related. So when you say that, they may understand. You can explain very likely. You face this type of boss or this type of superior or this type of colleague is because in the past you also created this type of stress to others. So now you become the victim. The condition is reversed via karma. You reap what you sow. So you must resolve all this work issue amicably via Dhamma way. If she is willing to listen and develop some understanding, then maybe you can help her. Otherwise, just let things be. If there is no condition, just let things be. Just listen to them. Let's see how it goes. Also, provided you yourself have the ability to help. Otherwise, there is not much impact as far as I know. So it all depends. If you really want to do something or develop some form of understanding, the Dhamma really can help them. The Dhamma can give them solution and understanding. And life need not be that way. Suffering need not be. Career is career. Life is life. So those two, they are independent of each other. But when you have Dhamma, you can have both, career and life. You will know when to retire, when to stop. Otherwise, human beings, they are caught in between. On the one side, they say they need the money. the salary, the pay. On the other side, they feel the stress, the pressure. They feel the unhappiness within the corporate environment, the office politics, etc. So for those who don't have the Dhamma and the right understanding or right view, they will react, they will stir their mind, they will trigger of fear, worry, anxiety, phobia, and job insecurity. Then at night they can't sleep, develop insomnia. So fear, worry, anxiety, insecurity, phobia, and stress, etc. are very common. So there is a reason why most people are unhappy with their career, their life, with whatever they do. Maybe with their sharing, maybe with this style of sharing, it can help you develop more understanding to see how you can help her the next time. Okay, now before we continue, I want to find out how is your sister. And then Jinhao said, oh, she fully recovered at that time, I think COVID-19. Oh, that's good news. So continue to take care. And Jinhao continues it. And then back to the topic. Like you said, I want to talk to her, but I see there is no condition at this moment. And then I reply, then let it be, or let things be. There is no condition, and then I also reflected. When I was younger, in my 20s or 30s, I also went through all this kind of similar issue. At that time, the very hot topic I tend to read and follow is a topic on how to be successful. Then I replied, yeah, motivation stuff, and all those career improvement seminars and all those things which are quite common. Then the next section is 3.3.2.6, see purpose in living life, seeing the purpose in living life. And now I'm so glad that I follow the right way, the right path, because then I intervene. That is why with the Dhamma you become different. You see things very differently. You do things very differently. Not only you have understanding, but you also have contentment. Because of your clear Dhamma understanding, you are very contented with life and appreciative of life, whereas you understand life differently, not following the old thinking, the traditional conditioning or conditioned thinking of most people to chase after materialistic wealth and success at the expense of one's own health and life situation. They want to be successful, so they are like that. Who is that young man that got into depression? What is his name? That one that came to the Thursday class, saw me and recovered. Eric, yes. Do you all remember? He used to share with us, he was so badly affected because, according to him, half of his life was trapped in severe depression with suicidal thoughts. He went through those depression phases that he can never understand why his life is like that, until he finally even came to believe what the mother tells him may be true. Maybe he is really stupid, like what the mother always tells him. Maybe he is not up to the mark or whatever. So when you have such a situation, the mind becomes so conditioned, so confused, and they cannot break free. So you finally need the Dhamma. That is why when I explained to him about memory, then he started to understand how the accumulated fear, phobia, and various wrong thoughts cause him suffering and misery. Because these are wrong thoughts. Thoughts with the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. They condition his misery, his suffering, his unhappiness. Then he started to understand, because he held on to those wrong thoughts. He accumulated or deposited them in his brain, and they become very powerful or very strongly accumulated memories that trigger of the wrong thought will respond to those psychological memory of fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, lamentation, scars of memory, insecurity, and phobia. Yes. And whenever he recalled to those memories, those unconscious and subconscious phobia also spring forth, like the words of his mother telling him off, then being scolded by his boss, etc. So all these are the mind states of living beings who don't have the Dhamma understanding. So they will continue to go through all this, not until they can meet someone who can help them understand all this. So I used the Dhamma to explain to him in layman terms, using normal day-to-day language, like the type that J. Krishnamurti used. He understood and he came out of the depression. That's why it can be done. So all these are possible. Oh, then finish at the end. Closing puja. Okay, so we shall end our today's sharing. Let us rejoice. One more time, then sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Then we will chant the closing puja. Okay, that's the end. So finally, we finish this book, lesson 71. Okay, maybe we can have our 45 minutes of awareness-based meditation now. We are off the light, then you can have your 45 minutes of awareness-based meditation to stabilize your mindfulness and awareness within. So remember the four support, especially the first three. Relax, maintain awareness, then stabilize the awareness. And finally, when you already have the ability to stabilize your awareness, then you can move on to the fourth support, which is trust. Trust your nature to do the meditation without any interference from the thought process. Okay, you can slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. Then we'll continue with our second session. So today, second session, we will change it a little bit because on the WhatsApp, I think you all may recall, Pauline wanted me to explain one of J. Krishnamurti called the absolute silence of mind. This is a very meaningful J. Krishnamurti quote. You can understand this quote. It will help you in your meditation, where it's not easy to develop understanding of this sentence. Absolute silence of mind by J. Krishnamurti. So absolute silence of mind. Maybe I avoid it a bit. So absolute silence of mind by J. Krishnamurti. So try to listen, and hopefully with a deeper understanding, it can help you understand what J. Krishnamurti meant by absolute silence of the mind. So one asks, is there a stop to thought and time? So this question is very important because for meditator, if you cannot understand this, you cannot develop the ability to meditate. So even though the question is very straightforward, but it's not easy. You have been developing the mindfulness training, the awareness based type of meditation, then you will understand this very clearly. But for most people, they can't. That's why I remember in the early days, I shared this with Kayamita. There was one day, one of my university mate, MU, university mate, engineering, also civil engineer. I think he had some problem. First of all, truth-related problem. Then he came and see me, talked to me. Then in the early days, he know I'm a Buddhist, I'm a cultivator, and I'm very good at meditation. Then he came and talked to me and asked me. Initially, he was curious. He said, what is this meditation all about that you all were trying to develop? And how can it really benefit a person or benefit that person developing it to develop the understanding of life? So I said, very easy. I said, to meditate is to silence. Can you silence your mind? He said, what do you mean? I said, silent, don't think. And he tried, he really tried. He said, there is madness. He said, how can you stop thought? This is the question. So J. Krishnamurti asked the same question. So one asks, is there a stop to thought? Thought means psychological time, thinking. When there is thinking, there is psychological time. Means the thought process created psychological time, and because of that, you go through time. That's why aging, decay, sickness, and finally death. So the physical body that is subject to time will undergo decay, disease, and finally death, even injury and all those things. These are the realities of this physical existential world. All phenomena, they are subject to change. So the question is there a stop to the thought process? Means, can psychological time come to a standstill? Can we cease the thinking? Not through suppressing it, controlling it, or forcing it to become still, silent, or not to think. That is suppression. That's why people, they try to stop the thinking. They believe because of thought they have problem. So they try all the various type of technique and method to meditate. They try to focus, to concentrate, to develop absorption so that the thought cannot move, so that all thought are killed. There is suppression, energy field, control. But here, J. Krishnamurti is not talking about forcing the thought to stop. He is talking about a free mind by its own stopping. Stop thinking. So is there a stop to thought or time? Is it possible to stop the thinking? And we will continue with that J. Krishnamurti quote. We will read on. According to J. Krishnamurti, he said, because if there is time, that is, if there is thought, this perpetual occupation, this sentence, these two words are very important. Perpetual occupation. As most people, or most of us, are perpetually occupied. Occupied what? Thinking about various things. What do you think? everything that comes across your memory. Your thought is respond to memory. You continue to think. That's why perpetual occupied thinking about various things, verbal chattering, or verbalizing, chattering, which means the brain is never quiet, but always groping, searching, remembering, hoping. We can add on a lot of more things that the brain do. Because of fear, phobia, anxiety, insecurity, all this create thinking. That's why the mind becomes restless. Then thought starts to project, continuously project. This is what heedless thinking is all about. This is what the human mind, the mundane mind, the conditioned arising mind that is not trained. That's why the Buddha called it heedless. It's not heedful. Will do. But if you have trained your mind and developed the understanding and make it heedful, then it becomes different. It becomes ever mindful, constantly aware within. Then that mind can meditate. That mind can insight into phenomena, can awaken. So the next sentence you will understand. J. Krishnamurti says, such a mind obviously is never quiet. True or not? Because your mind is so heedless. You think a lot. You are preoccupied with all your so-called problems, your worry, your anxiety. And try to remember this, remember that. Worry about your problem, thinking about your problem. Then you have your daydreaming, your hopes, your anger, your hatred, your jealousy, then your planning, your scheming, all this, you create thought process. And every of this thought process make you more and more entangled. That's how the cocoon of thought created depression. People enter depression because of that. So obviously, such a mind is never quiet. The next sentence, listen, this one is very important. But to perceive that it is never quiet, through what? Just through an understanding, without any direction. That one is not, is very important. Without any direction means you are not trying to reason about it or analyze it. You just perceive it, aware. That's it. The pure mind, the pure awareness of it. That this mundane mind, thinking mind, is not quiet, without any direction. Not to say it must be quiet to perceive it. Because when you do that, what happens? You created the thought. The thought manifests and tell you that you have to make it quiet. Means there is a will, there is a desire, there is a craving to do something. When you do something, you activate thought activity. You understand? That's why you must not reason or try to analyze or give it any direction to make it quiet. No doing, that's why I say don't try to know, don't try to do. That is the meaning. Just aware. That thought is there. The mind that is not trained is heedless. The untrained mind is heedless. Just understand that. Finish. That is what you observe. Then not to say all these things, that it must be quiet. I have to make it quiet. Just to observe it is not quiet. Then what happens? If you can be sensitive, aware, and do nothing, just observe, means, like I always explain to you all, don't feed it with any more thought energy, thinking energy. Don't allow the thought to come in through the back door and all those things. Then what happens? That sankhara activity or thinking will slow down, until finally it ceases. That's why that understanding is very important. So when you have that understanding, you just let things be. Just observe that it is not quiet. Then what happens? Then it will slow down and finally cease and become extraordinarily quiet without any suppression or compulsion, without any practice at all. You don't have to do anything to realize that, which means one requires great sensitivity, attention, and awareness to do it. That's why without this awareness, complete silence, attentive, sensitive, but not doing anything, you cannot observe it, you cannot perceive it, you cannot understand it. That's why the Buddha, through his understanding or wisdom, realized this. In everything you do, if you are just aware, then whatever that is being aware will cease to develop the condition for it to continue to manifest. Means when causes and conditions cease to be, the phenomena also cease to be. Then when you introduce the causes and conditions again, then it manifests again. Then when the supporting condition is there, in this case is giving it thought energy, creating more thinking. So when you are preoccupied with all those thinking, chattering, verbalization, whatever mental activity, it will continue to proliferate the thought process. So when the thought is active, how can you be quiet? That's why you can't. The only way to do it is to stabilize your mindfulness, your awareness, and be extraordinarily attentive. That's why he used the word, which means one requires great sensitivity, attention, and awareness. Means you have to be in that state, very stable. Then only you can realize it and witness it. Then that thing can manifest. Then I read on, you will understand. Only in that absolute silence of the mind, that silence of the mind when it arises, a silence which is not cultivated by thought. That's why I say, if you use thought or thought-based approach to cultivate the mind, to train the mind, you are doomed. Because this silence of the mind is not cultivated by thought. It isn't a silence between noise or vibration. Where that one is within the physical condition world. Like at night, middle of the night, suddenly it becomes so quiet, where the vibration of the car no more. So you can like perceive the silence of nature during the very, very like early morning, maybe 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., when the traffic and all the other vibrations are much, much less. That's why during that time, especially you study at night, I remember at about 12 a.m. onward, I realized the whole of the nature, the environment become very quiet, very still. And I can perceive that since I was young, when I was studying. As I later on, I also came to know why my daughter and my son like to study at night, very, very late at night. They say that is the time they study. It has its reason. So only in the absolute silence of mind, a silence which is not cultivated by thought, and it is not a silence between noise or vibration, where that one is still worldly, mundane, or between two thoughts. This silence is not that, because when there is space between thought, means you don't create thought activity so much. But it is not that silent. That style of silence is still mundane silence. It's not the absolute silence of the mind, where there is no activity, nothing, no doing, nothing. It's just the stillness, the tranquility, the silence. Silence demands total freedom from all self-centered activity. You know what is that? Is that self-centered activity means your mundane mind is active, but that one is egoic. That's why it's self-centered activity. And pursuit of pleasure and fear, and so on, because of duality. That mundane mind that wanted pleasure or have fear. Pleasure is positive craving. Fear is delusion, negative craving. Want to push it away. So all this is very important. Then J. Krishnamurti said, only in that silence, completely, can there be that which is the nameless, or people trying to search for the nameless, or what they call the God nature and all those things. Yeah. Nameless means you cannot name it, you cannot describe it, it cannot be spoken. So what actually that means is the unconditioned, not within the mundane conditioned arising world. So after I explain this, I will read over the whole quote one more time. Then hopefully this time is easier for you all to understand, so that the impact can be there. Okay, you listen. Absolute Silence of the Mind by J. Krishnamurti. So one asks, is there a stop to thought and time? Because if there is time, if there is thought, this perpetual occupation, as most of us are perpetually occupied, thinking about various things, chattering. The brain is never quiet, but always groping, searching, remembering, hoping, etc. Such a mind obviously is never quiet. But to perceive that it is not quiet without any direction, not say it must be quiet to perceive it, just to observe that it is not quiet, then it becomes extraordinarily quiet without any compulsion, suppression, or any practice, which means one requires great strength in sensitivity, attentiveness, and awareness. Only in the absolute silence of the mind, a silence which is not cultivated by thought. It isn't a silence between noise, between two noises, or between two thoughts. This silence is not that. Silence demands total freedom, means completely without self-centered activity, and the pursuit of pleasure and fear, and so on. Means the mundane mind, the egoic mind is not active at all, is not there at all. only in that silence, completely, can there be that which is the nameless. So this is beautiful. Let us rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now we will open up for our second session. And you all can also maybe add on whatever you can understand regarding that Jay Krishnamurti quote about absolute silence of the mind, or ask any question which is made for that clarification. Or you can also maybe report your meditation or ask whatever Dhamma question related to meditation, the teaching, or life itself, or share whatever experience that you have developed through your cultivation via Dhamma in daily life.
Good afternoon, Brother Teo.
Yes.
Yeah, Mrs. Teo and Sister Sui. Before I nominate another person, I would like to share this.
No problem. Yeah, very good.
I'd like to share this. Maybe it's a little bit connected with what J. Krishnamurti mentioned just now.
Yes.
It's a kind of meditation experience.
Oh, good.
Happened a few times, and then just now, the 45 minutes or so, I experienced that.
Oh, very good. Sadhu.
It's like maybe from deep sleep deep sleep. Then there is a sudden awareness of this deep breathing sound.
Yes.
Deep breathing sound. It like, how to say? It's like
you are continuously aware. You are continuously aware.
Yes, I aware of the very deep.
Correct. The
breathing.
The breath and the mindfulness awareness move as one. That's why that movement makes you strong. The awareness and the nature inside very strong. You will go through that. Yes.
It's kind of sound. It got sound. So
of course, because you have your hearing consciousness. That's why the deep breathing, you can actually perceive it, aware of it.
And then very fast, I also witnessed the cunning mind try to imitate again the breathing sound. Try to
from the background. It's very near. It want to come out very fast.
So but when you want to imitate how the sound deep breathing sound like, it cannot. It does not the same. Never be the same.
Without the awareness within, you cannot imitate one.
So it's kind of I witnessed the cunning mind wanted to in fact trying to meditate, try to imitate. Imitate that sound. So after that I said, I said, it's not the same lah.
It's totally different.
So I just how to say? I just ignore it lah. So I continue. So I continue how to say, relax in the whole body.
Sadhu.
Also go back to the breathing, because the breathing that time is very strong lah. So I go to the breathing. There was a few times, and just now one, the 45 minutes one is I don't know whether I fall in sleep lah, but the moment I aware, this time is not aware of the breathing, but it's aware of the sound. A sound come out again. The sound like from the heart, like that, no? Just like that. So
it manifests from there.
So again, the mind, like Brother Teo always say, avijja pacaya sankhara.
That movement you can see already.
The sankhara said, what sound is this? Something like that.
Correct. The curiosity will trigger off.
So I can catch the sound and the sankhara come and want to find out what is it.
Right. That is what analysis is all about. When you try to analyze and reason, like it come out with a question, what is that sound all about? Means the mundane mind trigger off already, and it's very near. When you are in that state, even Alicia, they go through, they know it's very near. Initially, when you are deep in the awareness that time, then that one cannot come out so easily. But later on, when you relax into it and go back to normal awareness, and then that one become very near, very active, can trigger off and say a lot of things, like what you experience by the description that you make. So that one is very good. You have to see all this, go in, then experience it, understand it. Then when you come out of it, you will develop the deep understanding of what this thing is. That's why the awareness nature and the thinking mind, the mundane mind, or what they call the dependent originating conditional arising mind, they are totally different. The two are totally different. One behave exactly like the paticca samuppada, like the Buddha said, avijja paccaya sankhara. What is avijja? Ignorant. Ignorant of what? Ignorant of the truth. Not having the understanding of all this. Then it will come out with a question or what they call statement, verbalize. What is this? How can I understand? But if you say, how can I understand? It becomes an inquiry, then not so bad. When you become curious, what is this? And you go and use the thought to investigate and analyze, then the thought becomes active again. Then you will be trapped again. That's why I always advise cultivator, meditator, don't try to know when you are doing the meditation. Don't try to, the other word is, don't try to do. Well, this doing and trying to know and realize is the condition for the mundane mind to manifest. That's why I just let things be, relax into it. Because after the understanding has surfaced, you only need to relax and maintain awareness. That's why the force support is useful. Maintain awareness to stabilize it, the third support. Then the awareness-based nature will surface on its own. Without thought, you are already aware. So don't have to do anything. No need to train, no need to cultivate, no need to do anything. The understanding of it develops the ability of the mind to become quiet on its own. Means it is a free mind, not a conditioned mind, not subject to any conditioning like concentrating, focusing, developing. Means there is no external factor coming in to disturb or train the mind through the thought process. That's why it's not thought-based. It's awareness-based. Relax, maintain awareness. Means let the silence develop and arise. Then stabilize that. Then after you stabilize that, like what you all have gone through, it will manifest in many other different ways, different forms for you to develop understanding. So what you are going through now, Amy, is one of the things, which is good. You should go through. Then you will understand more. Then later on, you can have the understanding to actually manifest that understanding in the form of sharing with people. Means when the understanding stabilizes, then all these things become very clear. Then you can express it in words or describe it to let other people develop the understanding. So that phase will also come. That's why what you have gone through today, based on what you have reported and described, is very good. Sadhu to you.
Yeah. What I realized is last time, if we wake up from like a crawl sound, snoring,
at the first sound,
at the throat. That one is at the throat level.
Correct.
But now I feel the sound or vibration is at the heart area.
Yes. That's why you will shift. It will shift because your awareness will shift to the heart finally. Very good.
Okay, so that's all for this sharing.
Amitabha, Bharatiya, and all Kayamitas. Thank you, Sister Indy, for nominating me. I do not know why, but I had a feeling I'll be called. So I'm very, very happy to hear that everybody is so excited about this awareness-based meditation and the sharing from gratitude from the past few weeks, about the creation process, the Trinity, the trained mind, the untrained mind, now the absolute silence.
Absolute silence.
J. Krishnamurti, Krishnamurti. Actually, J. Krishnamurti, although you say it's a layman English, sometimes his English, I also cannot understand. But like nameless, for example, my guess is okay. The unconditioned, or is he talking about nirvana? Is he talking about pure awareness? But I know roughly these are the areas that he's touching on because it's not the mind. So the words he used, I tell you, words can be so dividing and quiet. It's so true, If you don't understand the words, you totally.
He is very precise in his words, and he's very wise because he has the awareness. He has gone through all this transformation, and he has seen all this movement. That's why he can share in such a manner, very precise, his words. That's why at that time, when my last teacher asked me to pay attention to his sharing, I start to listen. Then when I start to listen, I was so amazed that there is such a being. And like me, although you can say he's a lay person, but he is very wise. And spiritually, he's very advanced. Because later on, I have the condition to receive a lot of his books too. Then I started reading about his sharing and his past. Then I came to realize he has a lot of wisdom. He is very wise, and the word he used is very precise. Initially, I was very amazed because I said, how can there be a living being who can understand the mind inside out? Even though he don't use the word, the true mind, the silent mind, or anything, he actually understands the mind and the nature very deeply, but he doesn't want to use any traditional spiritual terms or whatever to describe it, because he's scared people get trapped by all these words. That's why sometimes you listen to him. He used the description. He said, people trying to practice meditation, developing all this to realize Atman and all these things. Then he add in at the back all this nonsense. That's why he don't want to mention about it. Because you are using the thought after hearing somebody's experience, then you go and use the thought to search for it. All these are the thought-based type of meditation. And you cannot realize that which is beyond thought, beyond mind. That's why if you listen to what he shared, he's very direct. He's very precise. Even the absolute silence also. But to understand him, you really need your own understanding of what this type of awareness-based meditation is. That's why later on, my nature was full of joy because I realized He was so wise and so precise in the word he used. That's why I like to read his quote. Then when I read his quote, it let me understand much deeper what my nature has realized. That if I don't hear from him, it just, if there is no the Buddha's teaching, then all this systematic way of stabilizing the understanding to share with people cannot become possible. So because of that format and all those things, then after some of the word he used, which is very good, that's why I start to borrow some of his words, like all the awareness and all those things. Those words were actually very accurate. So later on, as you all develop the understanding deeper and more stable, then you will understand very deeply the difference between those who have the understanding and those who have not. Even at that time in 1989, after my nature connect and develop the transformation, then I remember I told my wife, I said, Krishnamurti is very, very good. Well, I heard this statement from him. Acting according to memory is not acting at all. He just stopped there. He just stopped there. He never tell me how to act, but my nature understand. Because when you have the Dhamma, I realize what I did was I act according to understanding. I never act according to memory, which is full of our views, opinion. He never explained all those things, but my nature understand because I saw it in my mindfulness, my awareness, in my daily cultivation and all things in the midst of life. And then I realized a lot of those cultivator or spiritual people, especially the scholar monks, they are trapped in memory. Yes, they commit to memory, they chant, they commit to memory, the Sutra and all those things. That's why I told my wife at that time, no wonder, very difficult for them to develop the understanding, to free the mind, because they commit so much to memory. And when your memory is cluttered with all this type of thing, it's very difficult to be mindful, to be aware, to be heedful. But on the one hand, you try to remember, you attach to all those things that you have commit to memory. And from there, you like rattle it out, like the parrot and all those things. So it's easier to parrot. It's very difficult to develop the understanding of it. So all this, you will develop the understanding. As after that, I just didn't do anything until the year 2004 when Yu Chen came, almost 15 years, because at that time, hardly anybody can understand what this thing is. So I also knew I was ahead of time, and a lot of things that J. Krishnamurti expressed was so beautiful and so precise. That's why later on I start to extract some of his very good J. Krishnamurti quote for sharing with Kayamitas. And over the years, I think we have shared quite a lot of all this. So you can continue, Bujang, yeah. Bujang, are you there?
Yes, Radio. Actually, Radio sharing on J. Krishnamurti, all the quotes are very, very deep and beautiful. Actually,
very profound.
I mean, in the past years, I totally cannot understand I mean, by reading the quotes, I cannot fully understand it. But with help from Radio explanation, and plus your own awareness-based meditation, it helps tremendously. It really helps tremendously.
Yeah, it becomes very different.
You can do. Yes, very, very different. So by reading it, and then we can understand what is going on already. Plus, with the Radio, your explanation through your 30 years of meditation experience.
And also, I try to relate it to the Dhamma.
Correct. So it really helped, with that kind of meditation experience that Brother Teo have. You have gone through so many things, so many phases of I would say phases and level of understanding is very, very deep compared to us, We are like babies that is just started to learn how to meditate, like learning how to start walking, So it's very, very different, So I mean, we are so fortunate, Brother Teo. We are so fortunate with this good condition, that we have Brother Teo, the great thing to help us, and all the codes that to guide us as well, And so, I'm very, very appreciative and grateful that that I get to learn in this life, in this life. I do not know about past life, but Brother Teo, in this life, I'm really, really, very
definitely.
I have that condition, So with the condition, the resources that we have today, with the time, I mean, I would say time maybe is limited, I do not know, Brother Teo, whatever life the span that I have left, whatever that is, I also think is still fortunate that with this healthy body today that I have, but tomorrow I do not know, but at least with all these resources and I have that I've invested in learning the Dharma, it's really how is that? It's not wasted, It's not wasted.
It's very beneficial.
Yes, very beneficial and helpful to guide me in this life and in the future lives.
Yes, Sadhu.
So coming back to his quote, his quote is many levels of understanding. He's talking about the mundane level and also the awareness-based meditation level, that is the unconditioned, right? So in the awareness nature. But the other thing I want to say is, although Krishnamurti never said this, mentioned this before, but I remember Brother Teo also mentioned it because I also experienced myself. There is this shift of consciousness, from the mundane to the unconditioned, So when you have a shift, it's a very sharp clarity. You straight away, straight away, no question asked, you straight away know. It's really no direction, one, Brother Teo, no direction. It just when
shift transform you into that state, that nature itself. That's why I use the word shift of consciousness. I can't find another word. And you are right.
But that's a very good word, Brother Teo. Very good word. Straight away,
mentioned that one,
Yes, he never mentioned it. But this one I find very, very
very useful.
I call that very, very precise, useful and precise also, Brother. This is how
very precise and useful. Because I can't find another word. So when I coin that word shift of consciousness, I realize it matches because it is the shift, no more within the mundane consciousness. So that shift can actually transform a meditator during that time when the condition fall into place. That's why it's sudden shift. Even that very painful sensation, if you maintain awareness and don't allow the craving, aversion to arise, then there can be a shift. And when the shift comes, like I used to explain to you in the early day, I try to see through the pain and all things. Then I realized that it flashes through. There was this bright light, it flashes through at the mind level there. Then all of a sudden, that mundane consciousness, which is like manifesting as pain, or the so-called description, like the consciousness is contained inside the pulling and stretching sensation, which if you are mindful, you can see. That one completely gone, like that mundane consciousness gone. Then the awareness take over, shift. That's why I find that word useful. So the shift in consciousness, which is very, very beautiful. And sadhu to you for identifying. This is really true, sadhu. Very good.
Yes, sadhu. Because I find that when I explain my meditation experience to Brother Teo also try to help me to understand with the right words to use. Wow, I find that for this one match very well, it's just so
match very well,
precise. Match very well. This because because when we first started to learn all this meditation, right, we don't know what kind of words to use,
Correct.
And yeah, we are like a baby learning how to walk. Not stable, you see, like very
Correct,
not stable. But once you tell us the word, wow, it's like suddenly it strikes you and it matches, that is what
it cuts short your training because you can have that word to help you describe it and let other people understand what you are trying to share. That's why all these are very useful pointers towards the understanding part.
So this shift of consciousness will keep coming,
keep on coming
as you do the meditation. It keep coming, even in your when you start doing your daily mindfulness also, it will also give you the shift in consciousness that shift may not be as deep as the formal meditation, but you know what is going on, it's happening, it's happening,
Especially when you do the awareness-based meditation, when it shifts from the mundane thinking to the supramundane, means without the thinking. When it happens, you can realize it one. You are in a completely different type of awareness. It's not of the thought anymore. So that shift is very prominent at that time. And that one can happen in a very gradual way. That's why I like you all to go through all this, is because when you really relax and maintain awareness and patiently observe and see and realize it, because people who don't go through it with the patient, the moment they become curious, that state is gone. You cannot get it back already, very difficult. Then you have to try again. So when it arrives, don't be like curious. Don't be like overexcited. I use the word overexcited is because you will be excited, no problem. But don't be overexcited until you lost it. And just let things be. Relax into it and maintain awareness, silent. Then let it manifest. Then it will become very beautiful. Even sometimes initially it's just a glimpse. Good enough. Then later on you come out, you recall, you recollect. Then you will understand. It becomes very beautiful. The understanding becomes very different. Then the next time when it arises again, you are ready to develop the stability of it. That's why you can allow it to be. You're no longer so excited or curious. So that phase will also shift. Then you become different. Then the understanding will make you different again. Then all this type of shift or transformation or experience that you go through also depend on the individual's past. If you have done this before, I realize, then the movement, the shift, they happen very fast. Keep on arising, keep on happening. That's why I remember during 1989, a lot of these things keep on happening. Keep on happening. Then at one stage, until I had this, what they call understanding, which the nature tell me, he said, all this, you better write it down somewhere, he said. Write it down somewhere, he said. Because after it's over, my brain, my memory is non-grasping already. I cannot recall unless there is condition. That's why I need you all to report to me or share. Then when there is condition for that understanding to unfold, then it triggers off. Then I can recall or recollect. Then I can share it back with you all. Otherwise, it's all gone. So at one time, I try to write it down. But later on, I realized, no point. Just let things be. Write down also same. Don't write down also same. But in the early stage, when I write some of all these things down that time, I actually, after many years, I opened up that note. So then I realized, oh, this is beautiful. It let me recollect what happened in the early days. Then later on, I just let it be, because after that, I came out to do the sharing already. I just allow that nature to manifest based on whatever condition that manifests and arise. Then I realized the more important one is people develop the transcript of what I share. That one become more important. Because otherwise, how can I go and spend time writing all this now? And my memory is not like ordinary people's memory. I cannot do that anymore. That's why if you ask me to write, I cannot. But if you develop the transcript for me to edit, no problem. Very beautiful. It will come out very beautiful. Where I can recall what I share, and the understanding will actually make it different. So whatever video or audio or transcript that you all do, these are very useful, very, very useful. Later on, people cultivate all the way who look for truth, look for true Dhamma understanding, they will find all this recorded on our website on very, very useful. In fact, now there is the beginning of all this possibility where off and on people will write to me. And sometimes the comment that Jing Hao sent to me, because I don't know, because this one, the website is regulated, I think, also administered by mainly Jing Hao. So Jing Hao will receive all those things, like that day, the 3 types of samadhi, the Kanika samadhi, Upachara samadhi, and finally Apana samadhi. That guy from India, I don't know him only. Oh, he replied, this is so powerful. He like almost swept off. Because nobody can speak like that and develop that talent. And I speak like a normal person. Then later on, I saw there are a few of this video that pick up. There was one, I think, almost 2,900 something viewer already. That one is the most so far. I think it's about the talk that I shared, the difference between awareness and consciousness, consciousness and awareness. That one I realized a lot of people very interested. Normally our Kayamita only how many? I think at the most 200-300 only. But how can you receive almost 3,000 viewers and listeners? So actually to hit above 1,000 is not easy for repeated listening and all of that. Means people are interested in that type of sharing. It's starting to show up. But this is just the surface, the beginning. There are a lot more. When people develop the awareness-based meditation and transform, then only they can understand. That one will surface much later. And it will become very, very different. So this is what my nature observed. So remember, all this sharing, the transcript book, the audio file, the video file, you have the condition. If you are a true cultivator, seeker of truth, you have to listen. And it will benefit you all along. Because the deep understanding are all there. Like what Sister Pojing came to realize, there are a lot of things inside there. And different time you listen, it's different understanding again. You don't believe me? 3 years from now, 5 years from now, you go and listen again to the old one, the sharing. Then by then your understanding has transformed and become different. Then you listen again. Wow! You realize all this was shared, but at that time, not everything can be understood because different people are at different level of cultivation. So even now, NB also can appreciate the previous Tuesday sharing that I shared with Jing Hao and all. He find it so beautiful. The description of relaxation, everything so precise. That is precisely what it is. When you have the understanding already, when you go through already, then like in her own way, say, because what I described actually happened to her during the meditation. That's why For a person to have that stability or understanding to describe and put it into words so clearly, you know that being, his nature is different. Otherwise, he can't. He can't. That's why they have this word to complement. This is so powerful and all those things. Amazing. Okay, Pujay, sadhu to you. You brought out a very good condition. Yeah. Receiving consciousness.
Actually, we should sadhu you, sadhu, sadhu for all the great teaching. Actually, another thing that since you mentioned, right, those books that you taught long time ago, 2015, I think 2015. Many books are transcript books, when you mention about 2015. When I read it, I said, oh my God, Brother was talking about all this so long ago.
Yeah, so long ago, yes.
You know?
Yeah,
it's not recently he talked about it. And it's so useful and beneficial for us, because we are doing the awareness-based meditation, and we can understand it already, It was long time ago, Brother already shared, not now, not recently. Last few years, Yeah. So I was actually, when I read it, I was so amazed by it. This is 2014, 2015, the kind of time, so long ago,
Yeah.
So it's like ahead of our time, ahead of our time, you are sharing ahead of our time.
Not only you realize this, in fact, a lot of Kayamita realize this. One of them is, I think, Sister Liang. She used to tell me, not till that time we cannot understand you. Then I think a lot of other Kayamita also told me, not till that time really cannot understand. Even I think Chipolian also said it. Then PG also said it. Not till that time really cannot understand. But now, after they develop some more awareness-based training and understanding, that's why recently their consciousness become different. The Kayamita consciousness. I realize a lot of Kayamita has transformed, has developed the ability to understand what I share and all say. And now they can have the faith to listen attentively and develop deeper and more stable understanding. That's why I say this coming silent stay at Triple Jam Temple, I think a lot of things can happen. So just be patient. Then I heard from your sister Han, he said you're coming down 2 days earlier. Saturday, you can do your thing also, whatever you need to do before you go out. Sadhu.
Yes. I mentioned to her that I'll be coming down 2 days earlier. So I was thinking, I wasn't very sure about you, but I was just thinking, come back and do some bonding with my family, my relatives, and then also then also if Bratio, if Bratio is also doing the Thursday class, so I also can attend the Thursday class. I'm not sure whether you're still conducting the class, but if you are, then I can also attend.
I am still conducting the class. You
so
should
if like
experience Pamasuri's house, the Thursday class, the place that we are using, the energy is very good and it's very conducive. Quite a number of Kayamita who attended the Thursday physical class, they actually shared this. That's why you should come if you've got condition. We will fetch you there. I got people who fetch us. Then even if nobody, I will drive and we go together. My daughter will drive. Now my daughter fetches. So sadhu.
Oh, thank you, sadhu. All goes well, but yes.
Yeah.
So coming back to this, okay, good. So that was what I'm thinking, right? If I the opportunity, maybe I attend one of the class before the Cameron trip, Just to have some how you call that
Kayamita ship.
Yes, Kayamita ship. Yes, correct. But I've forgotten where is the class, And now that you mentioned, is at
Sister Pamasuri house. Last time it's Sriyan's house. But Sriyan say better have it there because it's more conducive. And Sriyan and me for nowadays, they don't have to actually, like last time, do a lot of things to prepare for the class. So that, because quite a lot of things to do. Then, because we have the Pamasuri's new way place, she bought the neighbor, and it's a very conducive vihara. We call it vihara now because it's like a vihara. And I think that day one Kayamita suggested, I think Joyce actually, he said we can have retreat there, it's a small group. Say, yeah, which is very conducive. Then Pamasuri, first thing he said, I don't want to cook, he said, I want to meditate. So these were the things that they exchange after the class. And normally after the class, we have a get together where we have some form of sharing of the drinks and the food before we leave. So hopefully you can have the condition, and we will bring you there.
Thank you, Bharatio and Sister Soyi as well, the person to fetch us and send us there. Bharatio, coming back to these transcript books that you mentioned, right? So we really must be very thankful to all those that involved in writing those transcript books, you know.
They prepared the draft for me.
Express enough. I cannot express enough that there are so many transcript books available for all Kayamitas to read and to develop the understanding, you know. Actually, all these transcript book is a treasure gem.
The gem we did. That's why now I slowly go through, you start to understand. There was so much gem inside. Like Miss say, at that time they cannot understand, especially the 6 pages of Platform Sutra. Then later on, the Wu Liang Yi Jing Sutra with the meaning all those things.
Actually, Bharatio, I want to mention. Okay, I want to mention about this Wu Liang Yi Jing, right, that you mentioned. I mean, you just completed it last year, right? So as Bharatio teach, Bharatio, as you teach this sutra, right? Bharatio, I developed that kind of meditation that is mentioned inside the sutra, you know. Yes, remember? So that is like so amazing. I said, you know, how come, you know?
Correct.
That kind of meditation that is mentioned about the 4 phases of
I
also now cannot remember the words, right?
Phenomena.
Yes, the 4 phases, you know, the 4 phases of phenomena, right? The growth, the sustenance of the growth, then
then decay, and finally cessation.
The ceasing of it. So actually, you develop that kind of meditation that is mentioned in the sutra, you know.
Because to penetrate the nature, to penetrate the conditioned world's Dhamma, you have to see all this. That's why the Wu Liang Yi Jing, the Sutra of Innumerous Meaning, emphasize on great training, because the training of the Bodhisattva is very different. The first training is, of course, the virtue of Bodhisattva. That one we control. Then you experience a lot of things, mesh our cultivation and all those things. Then how to teach the Dhamma, preaching of the teaching. That one as a Bodhisattva is different again. That's why that topic is very extensive. It's talking about going deep into life, into cultivation, the perfection of them, so that all this coming and going, birth and death of the Bodhisattva over a long period of time can give the Bodhisattva that goes through the training the extensive understanding and experiences of the cultivation, the various possibility, manifestation, even civilization, world system, that's why my nature, when it comes, is so different. The thinking, the understanding, the spiritual understanding behind is so different. Well, I look at things so differently and so extensively, and I can understand a lot of things. the causes and conditions behind how things manifest and how they are possible. And a lot of other things. That's why unless you go through this type of training, you cannot understand. And even the last one, the so-called 10 merits, the 3rd chapter, is so beautiful. Well, these are not ordinary 10 meritorious deeds. These are the 10 merits of great Bodhisattvas who undergo that type of training. And they go through all this. That's why that Sutra, you finish the 3 chapter, you become a true Bodhisattva, walking the path of the Bodhisattva. That's why it's all connected. And I have to teach all this, including the Liang Jing, the wonderful Dhamma Lotus Sutra. This one all connected to the Bodhisattva training, and this is like mentioned in the Liang Jing, means the lotus flower, wonderful lotus flower Sutra. That Sutra is actually the very, very important Sutra that the Buddha Sakyamuni actually shared with the world. That it mentioned about so many more Buddhas before him, so many, and how all the people who attended the assembly share their past. Some of them have met millions and millions of Sammasambuddha. That's why their nature are all very different. So all these are covered in this sutta. That's why all those Mahayana sutta, people don't understand what they are. But when they understand, it is so beautiful, so rich and marvelous. It's really, really a very, very marvelous and amazing sutta. That type of teaching difficult to come by. So all these are very beautiful. Sadhu to you, Jing, for bringing out the condition. This is really beautiful. That's why more and more things will surface, and you all will come to understand a lot more. But in the early days, when I tried to share all this, I can't because people are not ready. And I did hinted to quite a number of Kayamita. I did share, I said, it's exactly like what the Buddha mentioned to the ascetic of monk in the Samsipa group. He asked them, which one is more? He picked up a handful of leaves from the forest. Then the monk say, of course, the handful that you hold is so much less than the leaves that is in the forest and up in the trees. The Buddha, actually Sakyamuni Buddha, replied in such a beautiful way. He told the monk, likewise, he said, what I have understood is like the forest, the leaves in the forest. But what I have taught you all is only the handful. But these are conducive for enlightenment. That's why he teach the essential Dhamma, the essence of his teaching. Now this one is mainly for sainthood way, the Four Noble Truths where it's treated. But what he have understood is the full Bodhisattva way until Sammasambuddha way. That's why that one is a big topic, very, very wide range. That's why during that time I hinted to Kayamita, I said, there are a lot of things that my nature has gone through and developed the understanding, but I cannot share it because there is no condition. But now you start to see all these things unfolding, manifesting. That as you understand, I go deeper into the sharing, the understanding part of it. That it will keep on manifesting, manifesting. That's why it's, like I said, wisdom is unending. There is no end to developing wisdom and understanding. The unfolding of truth, the awakening, that nature is so beautiful, so immense. Sadhu, was a very good condition today. A lot has been said.
Yeah, thank you, Perpetual. Sadhu to you for giving us the condition, to learn so much simple and also profound Dharma as well, We started off with simple Dhamma, but as we learn the awareness-based meditation, we can go into a deeper, more profound Dhamma.
Right. Yes.
Actually, the Wu Liang Jing is not a simple
it's not simple. The Wu Liang Jing is the Bodhisattva way on the teaching is for Bodhisattva. So, and the 3 chapters very beautiful. That's why when I flipped through the book, I was so surprised. I said, got such teaching on it. Got people write about such teaching on it. But living being cannot understand. But the teaching was so beautiful. That's why to teach it, to share it, to express it, it's not easy. Not easy. Unless that cultivator or that being has gone through, has that understanding, you cannot teach. In fact, a lot of the Maya Sutta are not easy. Even the Heart Sutta is not easy to teach. The Surangama Sutta is not easy to teach. Then the Diamond Sutta is also not easy to teach.
But Bratio, it's easier to teach when all of us Kayamitas has the awareness-based meditation experience.
Correct.
You know?
This is very true. What you say
Yes. So with that meditation, the awareness-based meditation, it really open up our how to call that understanding by itself. You know, it's not like you can. I mean, yes, words to explain, but actually it's more than just the words. You know, even without the words, you know, we understand. You know, correct or not, Bratio? Of course, using the precise word that you said, you know, but words again is very dividing, it's divisive in the sense, you know, if you say the wrong word and then misunderstanding arises.
That's why Dhamma, when you understand, your words are very precise on. I used to share this before. If you don't have the understanding, the precision of the word you use is not there, then very difficult for you to develop understanding. Like I used to share with a lot of Kamita. Before you have the clear understanding, the stability of it, a lot of the Dhamma book you read, wow, like full of Dhamma, very many. But when you develop the understanding already, when you have the precise understanding already, you become very different. You read through a lot of the words they use contradict themselves. They're not correct already. You will know. Your nature will know. But you just smile and let things be. But these are the conditions. So a lot of this can really evolve out and become what it is later on as Kayamita develop the understanding and the problem. Then all the sharing that I did, the words, the meaning become clearer and clearer. Then you all will rejoice. You will rejoice. Then like I told Mama Suri, maybe 5 years later, we talk differently. Because the understanding has become very different.
Yes, thank you, Bratio. Yes, Sister Pamasuri will develop the understanding and it will transform her. So whatever
She is now starting to become different. Starting to become different. That's why there was one day. There was one day there was condition, I think, many weeks back. I think suddenly the Kuan Yin Pan, Amy suddenly texts me and said, do you have any physical class you want to attend? Then I say, yeah, can you come? Then I text Pamasuri. Then it seemed that 2 of them turned on, meant to be. So that day I remember it was a Sunday class too, I think, going down. We end at about 6 p.m. or slightly more. And you know what happened? We continued to discuss until 7 something p.m. Then we went for dinner. And the dinner also, they had to wait until almost 9 o'clock only the food come out. Then by the time we finish 9 something, almost 10 o'clock only they leave. That day we shared a lot of things, but too bad, not recorded. We got after the class already. But the one during the class was recorded. So that time she and Amy, they were conditioned. I share a lot of things too. That's why very different things happen. It's the way nature is. Condition arising cause of phenomenon. When there is condition, things manifest. Even Ingbi herself also said that it was very strange. Something hit her and she just decided she wanted to request that my nature understand and it manifests. That's how it's meant to be. And a lot of the things that we discussed that day was very out of the ordinary because they were conditioned. That's why later on towards the end I told Masri, I said, this is what I mean. We were taught in this way, differently, when we all had the understanding. That's that time the three of us had the understanding. That's why we taught differently. And a lot of things just surfaced. I cannot remember what it was already because my memory cannot retain all this. Unless there is condition, there is surface. Otherwise, not easy. Very good, Sadhu.
Yeah, thank you, Bratio, and all Kayamitas for all the beautiful sharing.
Yeah.
And that is very priceless to me and to many of us that is doing all this awareness-based meditation, because sharing of experience really help us to develop our understanding, also speed up our understanding, so we don't have to like go through the Yan Wang Lu,
correct.
and then trap ourselves inside there and then lost again, So by the sharing of all Kayamitas, actually I learn and benefit tremendously, Yes, I would say that. So I really want to thank all of them, and plus also by my own sharing, I also like to help other people
develop the faith and the understanding.
Yes, especially the faith, the faith.
Faith is very important.
Very important. Yes, because faith will drive us with the virya. In the past, I do not know. How come I have the virya? I just have the energy to do so many things. But after learning from Bratio, it's because of the sadha I have the virya.
Because your sadha bring forth the virya, your faith.
So you don't think so much of like, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? You don't think anymore. Just
correct.
Do,
That one is the thought telling you the wrong thing.
So no thinking, just do. That is so very important as well.
Have faith, persevere, and just do.
Yes, correct. So I like to thank all Kayamitas and most of all Bratio, Masaki for all your teachings that give me that the so-called resources and the opportunity and the conditions to grow and develop and transform myself.
Correct. That's why we have to thank them all. Also thank technology that all this becomes.
Yes, the technology, the Zoom, and the recording by all the faithful Kayamitas, Brother Sui An in the beginning, and then now Brother Chin Hao,
they are and the helpers, those who help.
Also Sister Christy also, who's helping as well sometimes,
A lot of
and all the people that the Kayamita that wrote all the transcript books,
correct.
The other one is what code? Straight from the heart.
Unique code, the unique code.
The unique code, straight from the heart. Yes. It's also very beautiful, short and sweet and precise. Actually, yes, I'm also very amazed by my sister Indy that she can record so many of it. 160 over.
160 something, and she still compiling.
She's so consistent and so persistent.
Because she can pick up the important saying where it hits her, because her cultivation allows her to have the understanding, and she can actually pick it up. And all this that has impacted understanding and nature actually become very beautiful and very full of meaning. That's why she has this interest in actually recording them out. Then when that time somebody suggested that we put into a book, I was so surprised immediately let me know that I email you. He got 100 over them. So that's how the book come about. Very beautiful. Yeah.
Very amazed, very beautiful.
Yeah.
You know? Yes, that we have so much treasure gem for us to refer to and to understand, to develop understanding, to do our contemplation, reflection, of all the Dhamma, of the Buddha's teaching, in one small book.
And also the affinity that we develop among Kalyanamittas through our annual retreat, spiritual trips, and all the continuous sharing and all these things, especially spiritual trips, and also our annual retreat where we gather and we interact. Then even the house dana last time we used to have, but because of the MCO thing, movement control. So the last 2 years we actually didn't have the activity. Now we slowly having back the physical class for Tuesday, Thursday, and later on maybe see how we are. Sunday is still Zoom.
Good afternoon, Brother Teo,
Yeah,
Mr. Teo, Suri, and thank you very much for all the key points that Brother Teo had highlighted in the WhatsApp. And also today's sharing, rejoice with this Ingbi and Putin's sharing. Okay. Regarding this awareness, I mean, Brother Teo had given us a very good foundation, especially with essential Dharma. I mean, the earlier days, what we need is the Dharma itself, the essential Dharmas.
Correct.
Then now, the awareness base, actually, meditation. Initially we are trained on mindfulness. That's the traditional way. And the awareness-based meditation is slightly more deeper.
Yeah, much deeper, because to understand the awareness nature is a completely different field. What they teach you on the mindfulness is just superficial of awareness, very superficial. Because the way they define that mindfulness is totally different.
Yeah, and the beauty of this is it have a clear comprehensions, and it have in order to continuous, you need a faith, continuity, and perseverance to stabilize it. And I think there is a no end of it. It should be
correct, and unending. That's why the training is unending. You have to continuously develop it. That nature can go in very deep.
And the meditative mind, is it once come to the meditative mind, I found that a lot of things that will be clearer to see the differentiate between a thought-based and awareness-based. And the awareness-based, you see, the mind sweeping method, when you do it in the thought-based and there is a rising of it, is also different.
Yes, very different. Yeah,
different because it got the self-regenerate effect.
Correct. Yes.
So a lot of this thing, like last time when I first went to this Longpo Anand place, I text to Brother Teo, and Brother Teo said, focus on the spiritual faculties. That time I still don't quite understand why I need to focus in that, So I find that only 5 physical faculty, but now as you move on deeper and deeper, you realize that actually is very important.
Yeah, precisely, because that spiritual faculty enable you to understand spiritual teaching. That's why the Buddha actually defined it at 2 levels. One is balas. Balas means the spiritual faculty become unshakable. You have to reach that stability of balas. When your spiritual faculty is becoming so stable and it becomes powers, then it manifests its spiritual capability to understand the Dhamma, the teaching, the meditation, because it has become spiritual power. Yeah. Spiritual faculty already enable you to understand spiritual teaching, but when it becomes ballast or power, it becomes very consistent and very powerful. Then during that time, the mental hindrance completely rooted out, cannot arise. Means you are ever mindful, constantly meditative. Your mind is aware all the time at the heart hearing, very stable. That's why that spiritual faculty never waver. The Saddha, Virya, Sati as well as Sati continues, very stable. Then Samadhi also follow. Then you keep on understanding things. You keep on awakening to things. That's why the direct seeing, the insight into phenomena, the awakening, they keep on happening when your spiritual faculty becomes very stable. That's why Panya, the last spiritual faculty, keep on unfolding. Because thing is just the way it is. Condition arising, cause of phenomena. So every of these phenomena, when they arise and pass away, you awaken, you insight into it. You become like different. You see it, you awaken to it. And all this will trigger awakening. Then when you develop the initial wisdom very stable already, your mind become very different. Your sati sampajana, yoniso manasikara become very stable. That's why the Avijja Sutta, you move straight away to step 4, 5, 6, 7, then 4 foundation of mindfulness, step 8. Then from there, everything will unfold. So these are all very beautiful understanding. Yeah, you're right, Sister Lee. The spiritual faculty now you start to appreciate.
Yes. Another one that I want to highlight is that just now English share about the heart areas. The sound. Initially it's always that when you come to a very quiet, it actually arises by itself. There's one is a very impactful breathing. Then after that, as you go by, you got two choices. Either you go into further meditations or you go into sleep. But nowadays, it's more like upon sleeping and upon wake up. It comes to few times. Then the things will come up. And at 4 a.m., that is the time that actually you can listen to the sound of silence. It's very beautiful.
Yeah. That's why nature's phenomena very quiet. Very quiet.
Yeah. Then it have in the sound itself is got frequencies.
Yeah. It's vibration.
Yeah. It got a lot of frequencies and the different states.
When you hear from the heart, there is no word, nothing. It's that's nature. That nature aware.
Yes.
And the description of it, of course, is different. So when you are stable at the heart, means your mindfulness very stable, then all of your whatever thought activity or what you do, whether hearing or smell or taste or what, is always from the heart. It's more at the brain there. Then like initially the snoring, because the vibration comes from the nose, that's why Amy, he feel it at the nose there. Actually it's towards the brain there, the source of the vibration, and then the brain pick it up through the memory. So all this, as you go through your experience, you will understand. Then like you mentioned just now, it's between awake and sleep. But sleep, you can also be awake if you want to. But most of the time, I realize only the initial training, maybe the initial few months, where the condition will manifest for you to have the ability to go into the awareness while your body sleep or rest. Then like you never sleep on the whole thing. That one you have to try to go through the awareness. But later on I realized it can be done. That's it. Finish. then no need, because you need to rest your body, you better rest. You only need to go through the understanding, the experience. Because like I said, a lot of things my nature has done before. That's why when it manifests and it takes me through very fast, then my nature understands. Then after that, I just relax and maintain awareness. That I need to rest, I just rest. I need to recuperate my physical body or what, and I will just sleep. I will just rest. So all this you will go through, you will understand. Then you know how to recuperate. You know how to develop the stability of awareness. And the difference between like what we saw, the subtle thinking mind trying to manifest. The boundary is very, very thin. It's very near. The thinking mind can manifest.
Yes. Right.
You must see that until it becomes very clear. Unless your mindfulness, the stability of it, the awareness is very stable, it's very difficult to see. What we saw was very good. The abhijja paccaya sankhara, you see the abhijja stirring and telling you all the story, that it triggers the thought process that you saw in this moment. That's why that silent mind, the awareness, can see. That it will know that this is dependent originating, condition arising, like the Buddha said. Paticca samuppada. There's dependent originating. When there is condition, it arises. When condition ceases to be, it ceases. When condition continue to sustain itself, the sustenance phase will be there. But they will go through nature's condition of birth, sustenance, decay, and cease. All this you start to see within the silence. That's why the Liang Jing mentioned the 4-phase cycle, the 3-phase cycle, the birth and death, and all. You start to see within phenomena the universal characteristics. Then that universal characteristic becomes very clear to the cultivator. That's why all this understanding is the wisdom that arises. It's not through the thought, it's not the knowledge, it's the awakening that gives rise to all this understanding. So this is something that you can continue to go in deeper and stabilize, then experience more and more of this. So what you brought out is very good.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to share today.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
to all the team that and all the sharings that come out in conditions.
Yes, according to condition. Yes.
Now at least now we know how important are all these words, conditioning, non-conditioning. All these have actually they have a very linkage. If you come to realize something, you find that they are all together. It's like a holistic picture.
Correct. It manifests. It just manifests. You remember the first time you came to me, then not long you invite me to go and share the Heart Sutta. How the Heart Sutta come out? Then you do the short note. It's like meant to be one. Something actually condition you to come and do all this. But you may not know, but the higher being, they know.
But the first time when I met Brother Joe, when I just sit down, you're talking about the heedless, heedfulness, and straight away it hit me because I'm in that condition.
At that time, your master just passed away, I think,
No, my uncle. My master passed away. I can take it because I know a lot of phenomena.
Your uncle, sorry.
So it hit me. It's really direct. It hit. Then straight away I come out of it. Then I go to Chempaka, every Saturday.
The Saturday class.
Then I went to Sri An place. Like what coaching they are doing now.
Like what coaching going through now. Then you invited me to your Wuping Jing. That was the condition. Because when I went there, the Kuan Yin's nature very strong. Very strong. No, that's why when I pay respect to the main author, the Kuan Yin, then I realize the nature very strong. Then of course your teacher, the room there also, the energy is very strong. And that place like meant to be. Like my nature has to go there and deliver the Heart Sutra. There were other teachings. And the most important is the Heart Sutra, where it's supposed to come out, the essential Dhamma or the sainthood way. That's why later on only the Bodhisattva way after 2016. So your Wu Bingjing sermon also, the condition, like you say, now you understand what I mean by affinity and condition. When condition is that thing will arise and manifest, and that is what precisely Dhamma is. It's not a theory, not a story, not something like fairy tale. No, it happened. Like now, I ask you all to do a simple exercise, you will understand it. You recall how Kayanmita started. Maybe no need until 2004 until now. Even 2008 when Suyande started, and for Miss D, I think it's slightly after that. 2009 or 2010, I think, something around that time. The Heart Sutra was about 2012, around that time. So what happened is, you look at how we evolved the Kayamita Shiva, the Dhamma website, and the Sutra, and the teaching, the sharing, and also the activity that we have. And all the what they call transcript, video, audio, is impossible. Impossible. And how each and everyone come? Most of them, I don't know them. In fact, only Sri Anne and me from my classmate, and of course my wife and Sri. The rest, all I don't know. I don't know. They just come. So all this is what affinity and condition is all. When there is affinity, when there is condition, the Dhamma will unfold, things will manifest. And even from the way all these Tuesday class, Thursday class, and Sunday class manifest and the sharing, it is really amazing. That's why earlier on, a lot of Kayamita asked me, but Theo, how you have time and energy to do all this? I say the nature just do. This is what the nature through his vow want to do. So all this become very beautiful. Now you all can understand after you go through all this. This is not something created by me. It just evolved and everything just fall into place. And so many people are involved. Now this is some tangible thing that you all witness over the years. And basically it's not too long, isn't it? Even 2004 until now, it's only 18 years. Understand? And most of you are less than 18 years, I think. Most of them are 2008 onwards. So it's maybe 16 years or 14 years old. So all this can actually give rise to understanding and very deep faith. You really can understand what happened and how all this come to be. 6:04 already. We have to stop already. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Raju.
Yeah, Miss Lisa.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. So let us rejoice one final rejoicing. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, we will share merits with all the beings, starting with the devas. Akasata cha bhumata devanaga mahindika punyang pang anumoditva cirang rakantu loka sasana Eta otta camehi sampadan punya sampadan sabbe deva anumodantu sabasampati siddhya idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyateo idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyateo idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyateo Devo Sattakalena Sasa Sampati Hetuja Rito Bhavatu Lokocha Raja Bhavatu Dhammiko Imena Punyang Kamina Mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yawa nivana patiya sadhu sadhu sadhu. Okay, you all can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. And we shall end the full Zoom session. Sadhu.